get this question frequently. It's like, oh, what's your favorite wine? Or an alternate question is like, what's the best wine you had this year? And, it's always the same answer, which is any wine that tastes like a place. And there's this French word, terroir. It's like terrier. You just flip the last two vowels. And that's a really lovely word that is meant to encompass everything about a place that makes the wine what it is. And so that includes some obvious things like the weather, the grape type, the soil, the aspect of the hill it may or may not grow on, all these sorts of things, the type of farming. But it also includes things like, maybe there's a pig farm upwind, and it blows those sorts of things. Or perhaps more pleasantly, maybe there's, miles and miles of lavender fields around, such as the case in the south of France. And all of those scents blow around and land on the grapes, and they make their way into it. They're a variety of millions of different yeasts, actually, that all, just as a short tangent, there's yeast everywhere. And we don't really think about that because you can't see it, but all of us are covered in them at all times in our lives. But think about, so that that microbiology is very specific to place, and all of that goes in there. And why that matters to me is because without this idea of terroir, without this idea of place and the people that inhabit it, all the wine is the same, and if it's all the same, it's boring, so if it's all the same, then you only really need 4 wines: a red one, a white one, a pink one, and a sparkling one, because everything else is the same at that point. So it's the stories of the grapes that have an affinity for a place, and the people that have an affinity for the grapes, and the way they tend them, and the way they celebrate them, and the way that their lives are dedicated to them. Going back to the monks in Burgundy 1,000 years ago, there's really an amazing and rich and thoughtful history and shepherding of these things to, ideally the craft gets better and better. But as the craft gets better, I think that the art can also get better. And they're not linked. I don't want to say that craft and art are the same thing. They're not. But, as you get better at your craft, it gives you an opportunity to maybe think more critically or more openly, or maybe in a more free way about what else can be done or what you want to express. And maybe you can express a certain attitude once you have the tools to actually do it. You know what I mean?